How y'all doing this morning? I would say tonight, but it's actually the middle of the night. So, inquiring minds want to know, TJ, why are you making a super late night video? Well, my dears, it's necessary. You know? Why am I here? I'm here because I'm not perfect. Far from it. I'm here because my channel and my content are about my passions, but those aren't limited to e-juice, CBD, poetry, society. You know, I consider myself a well-rounded person. One of the things I am very passionate about is the people in my life. You know, the life as a whole. You know, from my earliest memories until today. Why was the first statement self-reflection? Because one of the things that I'm most passionate about is helping other people. You know, how can one help other people? You know, before you embark upon trying to improve someone else's life, you know, you have to be practiced in self-improvement yourself. You know, so that's why I would start with the statement like, I am far from perfect. I am a very flawed creature. Because I can never understand how to help heal a broken person if I've never been broken myself. You know, I can never get in someone else's shoes if I don't have the empathy. If I don't have the compassion to understand things outside of myself, you know, but then also be wise enough to seek counsel so that you can be able to turn it over and then be able to come back to the table and compare it to your life. If you can find any comparisons, draw those conclusions, you know, and see if you could come out with something that can help the person that you're trying to help. I tried to get her out of the way several times and she just keeps fucking around. Swat her on the nose and she acts like you just fucking stabbed her. The reasons why I choose to do these is simply because because I'm having a difficult time with a couple of different people, okay? And the way this usually works in my life is no one knows who I help, who I try to counsel or talk to, you know, and I won't betray their trust by naming them, you know, but it can weigh heavy on a person. You know, you never want to give someone bad advice, you know, but you also want to make sure that in guiding someone, not only are you not leading them astray, that you're not leading yourself down a path that doesn't like align in harmony perfectly with who you are, you know. And in some cases, that can be extremely difficult, you know, especially when you fall short, man. And in the last several months, I had to learn the hard way about some of those things, man. Like, let me give you a couple examples. And I believe that these are fair to speak about due to certain circumstances. And as I describe them, that should become clear to you. Okay? What do I mean? Let's take 2 time frames. Calendar time frames. 6 months, a year. Okay? From today moving backwards. You know, in that point in time, I've had some successes and some failures. And everything that I'm speaking of in this video has nothing to do with me as an individual. It's me as an observer, me as a helper, me as a listener, me as a researcher. Because I'm humble enough to know that, like, I don't know everything. You know, and if I feel like something is out of my depth, you know, and I need to not give this person something that I'm not sure they can run with, you know, I'll go and do my own research, hours, days, before I come back and say anything, you know. So within the last year, I've gotten a close relationship with 2 hardcore drug addicts, okay? And unfortunately, as a kid, I didn't contribute to anyone getting sober, you know? But the reverse of that coin is positively, as an adult, I have. You know? So in the beginning with these 2 people, I didn't really feel like what I was saying or what I was doing was going to have all that much of an impact. Because ultimately, things of this nature are up to the individual. So you can do a lot, but you can only do so much. You know? Because things like that, even with people who are in those circumstances and broken, they have to be able to take that final step on their own. You know, like, you can feed them, you can clothe them, you can bathe them, you can lead them to water. They gotta take the step. They gotta take the final step in that journey. All that stuff. It's on them. You know. Ideally, in a perfect world, you wouldn't have to do everything. You know. But if your heart's really in it, if you're really about not just improving yourself or helping yourself, but seeing the world become a better place, seeing your tangible fruits of your labor, you know, manifest, helping the world one individual at a time, you know. So these 2 people, in the course of speaking to them, you know, I guess initially I had no idea that they were at such a crucial point in their journey. You know, not just with the abuse, but other things as well. You know, and not the least of all that, I am prone to having things happen in my life too, so I'm trying to help them and I'm trying to balance my own things, well, however it may have came across balance wise, I'm happy to say that I believe it was worth it. Times where I stayed up too late to counsel someone, to do the time looking up medical journals and just reading shit until I fell asleep, to make sure that, like, when I'm talking to somebody, I'm not talking out the side of my neck to somebody. I know what I'm talking about. Now, why do I mention these things? Because you have to mention the failures. If I help 2 people get sober in the last 12 months from hardcore drug addiction, I have to mention people that I've failed as well. And I got 2 family members that failed. And you can't you can't fall harder than this. When the line between the importance of your life and the will to fight against the pain becomes so blurred that you can't even look down and tell where you stand. And then before you know it, you wake up one day and you're out of here. I learned a long time ago that if my friends or my loved ones don't make it, I can't blame myself. If I didn't have a hand directly in someone, taking that trip, then I can't always blame myself, because especially me wanting to be helpful, that can lead to, at times, me feeling survivor's guilt or something because someone I cared so much for didn't make it. So when I was in college, one of the things I didn't expect to learn about, but I did have a great time learning about, was addiction. How does it start? What areas of the body does it affect? How does it affect it? How do these cycles play out in different age groups? How do these effects spread out across different ethnicities, different societal structures, different levels of wealth, all these things, and it was very interesting because it also gave me an insight on myself, that some of these things aren't just substance-based. You can have an addiction to life, Pepsi. For me, bottled water, anything, I drink the shit out of bottled water. I drink more bottled water than anybody I know, But, you learn at some point too much of anything isn't good, And, no matter how many times I wanted to quit, when I was trying to write papers about stuff that I didn't understand, and I had to, I'd spend a whole day or night typing until I fell asleep with the fucking netbook on my lap, only to wake up the next morning and realize it's not good enough. And I only got one more day before I got to present in that class. So, I got to get my shit together. I always felt like anytime I was in those environments that, it wasn't good enough for me to just do good. Especially when people would look at me and be surprised that I can string together the Queen's English for longer than 10 seconds in a thoughtful manner, going through those situations, they did help me. They didn't help me in these two circumstances because I wasn't really given a chance. And that's not making an excuse for myself, because with both of these people that passed away, I tried really hard. One, they both hid it from me. Probably because they know my personality, but one hid it in the sense like completely ghost, no communication, disappeared. I had no idea that they were like a hardcore substance abuser. The other person, I did, but when you try to talk to someone and they lie to you, how much further can you take it? If I'm telling you, hey, you got a big ass pimple right in the middle of your forehead, and you're like, no, I don't, but it's oozing and pussing and red, and everybody else is like, ew, look at this motherfucker, and you're like, no, I don't. What can I do? And that is difficult in itself, because I believe with each one of those individuals, with my personality type, knowing them the way that I knew them, as being as close to them as I was to them, I have no doubt that, like, and this is something I could have done, but this is not a regret. Pay attention to the story. I could have made a clarion call, gathered together some funds, and relocated one or both of these people. At different times, of course, not both people at the same time. But they didn't need help at the same time. These are people in different stages of addiction. But what each one of them was dealing with is far more different than, say, my mom's fascination with Pepsi Cola. Pepsi Cola doesn't make you fucking feel like, if I drink this Pepsi and I kill over because it's got fentanyl in it, so fucking be it. It's worth the risk because it feels that good. Pepsi doesn't do that to you. So each of these people ended up losing their battle. Why do I mention that? Because, like I said, one hid it from me and never let me know. I didn't know about it from any other sources because I'm not a gossiper. I'm not into gossip. I don't go looking for people's dirty laundry. The other person I had heard through a third party, and I actually, I have the type of personality that I will get you on the phone if I can't get to you in person or get to you digital or something, and ask you directly, like, hey, what the fuck is going on? Do you have a crack pipe in your back pocket right now, madam or sir? Like, I have no time for the bullshit, Unfortunately for me, like, it wasn't shit I could do. Like, I couldn't press it past that point, because then it wouldn't have been healthy. That's someone that needs help. Doesn't need to, like, be pushed into a corner and badgered. But if they're not strong enough to tell you the truth, be like, yo, T, this is what the fuck I'm going through, fam. It's this bad, or it's only this, or, just anything other than fucking lying. Especially at the same time when you asking somebody for help. So, like, not only did those two people lose, I lost. And it's this lesson that I've had to learn over and over again in life, where, like, no matter how much I want to help, no matter how much it weighs on my heart, that, like, a certain percentage of it is on me and my responsibility, and a certain percentage of it is on them. So what do these things have to do with what brings me here in the middle of the night tonight? Because the help that has me up right now doesn't have anything to do with addiction. But some of these same stumbling blocks and factors are like just so apparent, you know? And I want to close out with this. Why? You know, I could be asleep. I could be watching Netflix or something. I'm a type motherfucker that'd be 3 in the morning. I'd take my dog out to the dog park and go play fetch. Who gives a fuck? You know, if that's what floats my boat at that moment, that's what makes me happy. You know, but in closing, the reasons why are many. But if I could drill them down to make a concise point, okay? In the last 15 plus years, I've made a lot of progress as a human being, but I got a long way to go. I never feel to myself like this is done. Why? Because I was present enough and intelligent enough to know the damage I was doing to other people and to myself that caused me to become more flawed and more broken. I was conscious of it and I plowed ahead anyway. So how does that fit into this picture? Because today, all of the change, all the progress I've made as an individual has not just helped me, but helped other people. You know, how? Why? Because I didn't just pick up this shit by accident. Shit that either I learned about or somebody taught me about. Things that I didn't get from there, I researched on my own. And before I went out trying to push it onto somebody else or to try to help somebody else, I tried it on myself. You know, and there's a lot of shit that didn't work. Let me just randomly throw something out there like acupuncture. Acupuncture helped the pain tremendously, but it didn't do shit for stress for me. It does for other people, you know. So how does this tie in with today and now? Because there's a couple different people that I'm in different stages with. Whether it's through text message, through video chat, through talking, or in person, or stuff like that. You know, and each one of these different people are in different stages with one issue or another, or multiple. You know, and no one could ever be more of a headache to me than I once was to myself. No one could ever give me enough weight that I didn't already put on myself before in my life. From bullshit and terrible choices and the whole 9 yards. You know? But the difference is, even with a head like a motherfucking rock, man, like I was able to, at some point, slow down to fucking stop and realize that, like, yo, I gotta switch up this game plan, this playbook, because this shit is not what it is. You know? It took me swallowing my pride. Hey, I need help. Or putting my ego to the side, like, I'm too da-da-da-da for help. You know? Those things were some of the most important, pivotal choices in my life. I might not have never had a normal life again. You know? I might have, you know, been under somebody else's thumb. You know? So, that's what makes me making this video in the middle of the night tonight. That's what makes it tough. But I'm here for it, 1,000%. Just because whether they win or lose, whether I succeed or fail, the last thing that I want is to be like, well, I didn't even try. You know, because that just indicates a lack of care. You know, But even times when you may lead a person to a success, you may end up not being that person's favorite person because of what it took to get there. You know, I think my dad is a good example for me. Times in my life, my dad was not my favorite fucking person. You know, mainly due to his style, especially when dedicating wisdom to you, like telling you something or trying to tell you what to do. He might not have always been so subtle, so gentle, but you know, as many moons passed, you realize like, oh shit, he might know a thing or two about what he's trying to tell you. You know, thank God, thank the Creator, thank the universe that you listened at some point and was able to apply some of that. You know. Hopefully, you know, the people that I need to reach that I really want to hear the sound of my voice can hear this. And maybe even for people who it may not have been intended, may come across it and it may help you. And I sincerely hope that that's the case. You know? But now I'm done with the serious shit. Because it's time to go play some more Battlefield. Because gaming is what I do. Holla at your boy.